Part 3, floor framing or cockpit sole framing. Last night, back here on station 18, I glued some little strips on the top of that floor. And those are about 1/8 of an inch thick, which was just what we needed to bring that up. Now, I started working here forward. We had those cleats up on the bulkhead last night, and I had originally thought to try to do this one here at number 10 in one full piece, but the frames bow away back from the front edge of the centerboard trunk, so that just wasn't possible. So you can probably see here, well, I can't lift that board because it's clamped, but right down there I'm butted up against the centerboard trunk. And I think I'm going to have to put a little piece in between those two on the front side of the centerboard trunk. It shouldn't be a big deal. I'll just screw it into the front of the centerboard trunk. So I did that one first. Then I did number 9 here. And I went ahead and laid in what would be like the floors, the decking for the floor. These two, and in order to try to get a measurement just to see roughly how long these should be, I just took my tape measure, used my clamp, held the tape measure over to one end and clamped it to the bottom of one of these boards, and then just stretched it on over the other side. And you can at least get a rough measurement. And then I cut my stock a little longer than that, and then start trying to fit it in there. Now, the one here at 8, you can see I'm using quite an assortment of clamps, and I've got it clamped up on the bottom of that board. And the beauty of that is that those boards, what would represent the decking, those just lay on top of the other ones that are already in there. So it lets the timber that we're working on hang down. So for a while you have it just next to the planking of the hull, and then just take your pencil along the edge of the frame, like say here, and then just draw your line up on the side of the stock, and then take it over the bandsaw and cut it. And on that one, I'll bet I've cut that one on each end 4 times. You just take a little bit off, come back, try to put it in there, take a little bit more off, come back in there. Now I'm satisfied that that one's in there where I want it. I'm going to clamp it down good, drill the holes, and in we go. Something else I'm doing is I'm terribly fearful of drilling holes through the ribs and straight through the bottom of the boat. So I'm being very careful with the countersink bit, and I'm using 1.5 inch screws and getting into that rib, but trying to make sure that I don't go all the way through the rib. All right. So far, so good. Okay, we've got these forward frames in. So I've got 2 here at 10, a complete cross piece here at 9 and 8, and the cleats on the bulkhead. So the next one here would be number 11. And so I'm going to use my little tool that I made and lay this in here. And I've got an angle here, but that's just, the piece of scrap wood I had was like that. So it's not really representative of what the rib's going to be like, but it's handy. So lay that in there like that, and keep in mind that this is 1.25 inches, which is the same dimension as the piece is supposed to be. So I can put it in there, and then take what would be representative of planking, lay that in here. And so you can see right here, especially close up to the edge there, it's right on, because we're 1.25 inches up off of this runner. And then if I want to bring it over a little bit, it looks like it's pretty close. You can kind of play with this runner, put it in here, different areas. So I think what I'll do now is check it with the measuring the little measurer and see if it's parallel to the boat floor. Okay, that's 3.5 inches. Three and a half inches. Just a little bit more than that. Three and a half. Just a little bit more than 3.5. I've got another piece of wood that's pretty straight that I feel like would be, usable like as planking, but maybe not quite as long. I'm going to shorten it up just a little bit, just a hair. Three and a half. 3.5. I'm good with that. Now all I'll do is I'll measure how long this is, cut a piece of oak, and we'll fit it in there. Okay, second to the last one to go. Got all these frames in here, all the way up to the cleats on the bulkhead. Everything done on the other side, except for the opposite one that I'm working on right now. Let's see, guess that's station 16. I've got that clamped in there. One of the things that I came to figure out, these ribs are at varying angles. So like this one, and that's way over exaggerated, but it slopes like that toward the front of the boat. So once I cut this out on the bandsaw, cut my back angle, and I took it over to the sanding belt and just barely cleaned up the under edge on this side, on the back side of it, just so that it would lay flat on there. And drilling these holes, countersinking this oak is tricky. It's just really tough wood, and you got to get it countersunk all the way in there, or you can snap those screws off. And I've been driving all the screws by hand. I only broke one. So, knock on wood. The other thing I would recommend would be to use clamps like this. Once you get ready to go to put the screws in, the clamps will tell you whether or not the frame is right in relation to the rest of the frames. So in other words, if it's not right, it's going to pull it up, and then you know that it's either not long enough or heaven forbid too short. I only goofed up one piece of oak. You can see it sitting over there. And it would have been usable, but what's messed up about it is more than 1.25 inches thick. I could cut it down, but I don't need to. I've got enough that I can get this done. So, anyway, almost done. We'll take some pictures when it's completed. A Herreshoff design is a thing of beauty. Got all the floor framing in. Next we'll be putting in the actual flooring. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See you next time. And don't forget to like the video and also subscribe. There should be a little button over on the right side. See you next time.